So I see you wear this garb, the saffron garb. What is the purpose of this, and why is this specific color? This is a very well-known color among other swamis also. I happen to know what it is, but I just wanted to know why you choose this specific color also.
What I have described to you here is really pure knowledge, principles that are non-sectarian and non-culture specific. However, this knowledge has come out from that Vedic culture. So my spirituality has been nourished from that Vedic culture. So there are certain things that are cultural. So the culture and the tradition from which I come, this dress has a significance. Just like a policeman is a policeman even without that dress. However, in the discharge of his duty, that attire has an importance. It facilitates his duty. So similarly in the Vedic tradition and also in the Buddhist tradition, these are the robes of a monk, of a sannyasi, of a renunciant. So they indicate that somebody has dedicated himself or herself totally to the cultivation of this spiritual knowledge and the attainment of that spiritual goal.
Swamiji, this external world is perfectly synchronized. Everybody sees the same thing, but they perceive separately. So one get happiness, whereas other get misery. So the same thing happens with our inner world, whether it is synchronized.
What I said was that the external world is really one. It's a reality. So it's not that it's different for everybody. The internal world is different for everybody. Because the internal world has not been created by the Creator. We have created it ourselves by our mind and intellect, by our contemplations over endless lifetimes. So the perception of happiness and distress is not coming from the external world per se. It is being filtered by our internal world. So that is why, again, the Vedas say, if some fortunate soul could purify that internal world in the way they recommend and make it divine, how would they perceive this external world? They would perceive it as the form of God. The perfected soul would see this whole world as the form of God. Siya Ram Maya Sab Jag Jani Karau Pranam Jori Juga Pani. Hanuman states that I see the Supreme Lord seated in everybody. Hence, I fold my hands and offer my namaskar to everyone. Okay, so just coming back to your question, you said that in the MIT, people have developed their intellects in certain directions. So that is why at the beginning of this discourse, I emphasized that you need to understand the importance of this to your life. You see, it is lack of this spiritual knowledge that created a lopsidedness. And very often people have not been exposed to this knowledge. So that creates this lopsidedness. When it comes to education, education is considered as only education related to the phenomenal world. But there is another aspect that is so important that we are neglecting. When I speak to managers, now they all realize, I bring it to their awareness that you realize that your ability to function as a manager doesn't just depend upon your managerial knowledge, but on the extent to which you can manage your own mind. Even psychology has got the term emotional intelligence. So while doing your MBA, was it not relevant to understand how to manage the mind? That aspect has been neglected. We keep on developing material education, we ignore this. So we have got engineer making education. We have got doctor making education. Finally, money making education. Out of it all, you get money. But we don't have human making education. And that is so important. So it's a question of understanding its importance. And then, if we give it a priority in our lives, we will spend time on it. And when we spend time on it, the brilliant people of MIT, it will not take them long to grasp this and then utilize it for achieving fulfillment in their lives.
Swamiji, I perfectly understand about the inner engineering you talked about, but I think the whole materialistic world, there are a lot of successful people, and if everybody wants to go to inner engineering, how this world will function, because you definitely need the technology people to have innovation. Or is it a myth for this external world? Like, perfect example is Steve Jobs. He was in the best country, but he died of cancer. Maybe he might have chosen another path and he would have been more happy. So I just want to understand the cycle comparison between the inner engineering versus external engineering. Can a person be happy and successful with the external world attachment, or is it a myth?
The outer engineering is not bad. It's not an evil at all. After all, if you are hearing me easily today, it's through this technology, the microphone, right? Now, this technology in itself is neither good nor bad. The way you utilize it is what makes all the difference. Is a knife good or is a knife bad? In the hands of a dacoit, it's an instrument of murder. In the hands of a surgeon, it's an instrument of saving lives. So the knife in itself is neither good nor bad. How we use it makes the difference. Now, the outer technology is perfect, it's fine, but it doesn't have any values. It doesn't say this is good and that is bad. Technology, science doesn't have values. It doesn't present us with an ethical and moral system to decide what is its proper utilization. So, many years ago, the President of America, Eisenhower, had come to India. Now, when somebody comes to India, they traditionally respected as the land of spirituality. So in his lecture in Delhi, he said, God has given us nuclear power. We pray to God that He gives us the good intellect, that we utilize it properly. Now, where will this good intellect come from? That is where you need this inner technology. You need this spiritual science. So this conception that there is a conflict between the outer technology and the inner technology is not really correct. They can both be augmented. And that is the same thing holds for the world cultures. You have the Western culture, which is materialistically advanced, and the Eastern culture, which is spiritually advanced. They are both having their good points. If they could be combined, you could take the best of both, you would have a perfect situation. So I am not in any stage as suggesting that this is wrong. I am saying it needs to be augmented.